Thank you. Welcome to this afternoon's meeting of the Town of Barnstable's Conservation Commission. Before I open this afternoon's hearing, Angela, would you please call the roll to establish this afternoon's quorum?
Abedili.
Present.
Foster.
Present.
Hearn.
Present.
Koshulik.
Present.
Tangney present. Interim Administrator Ed Hoops.
Present.
Staff Member Kim Kavanaugh.
Present.
We have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Acting under the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and or Chapter 237 of the Code of the Town of Barnstable, the Barnstable Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, March 11th, 2025 at 3:00 p.m. for the applications of Robert and Marcy Aronson, Roger Brooks, Cape Cod Construction Company, Randolph and Barbara Noel, and 135 Putnam LLC. This hearing is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. The plans and applications are on file and may be reviewed by scheduling an appointment by sending an email request to Edwin Hoops at 230 South Street, Hyannis. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, please let the chair know if there's anyone recording this message. I see none or hear none. This evening's hearing agenda is posted on the town's website. On the agenda next to each application is the amount owed to the Town of Barnstable for the cost of advertisements. Please send your checks to the Conservation Division at 230 South Street before the hearing. The Conservation Commission's public hearing will be held by remote participation as a result of an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency signed by the governor on March 29, 2023, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Remote public access to this hearing shall be provided in the following manner. The hearing will be televised via Infinity Channel 8 or the High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. Real-time public comments can be addressed to the Conservation Commission utilizing the Zoom link 896-7007-3603, or use the toll-free number 888-475-4499 as shown on the agenda. The public can also email their comments to edwin.hoops@town.barnstable.ma.us at least 8 hours prior to the hearing. So let us begin. First up are revised plans. Christopher Bushing, 39 Hilliards Hayway, Barnstable, raise and replace garage with the project, and the revisions are add generator, propane tanks, landing, and stairs. There has been a request to continue these revised plans to, I believe, next month. Is that right, Ed?
To the April 15th, 2025.
Okay, thank you. So do I have a motion to continue this to April 15th?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
She's got to do roll call.
Roll call.
Abedili.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Hearn.
Aye.
Koshulik.
Aye.
And Tangney. Aye. That's unanimous.
Thank you. The second one is David and Jan Singer, SE3 59 8068 Little River Road, Katuitt. The project was to raise and replace a single-family dwelling with a garage and guest house. The revisions are to request an additional 475 square feet of hardscape. I believe John O'Day is the representative.
I am John O'Day from Sullivan Engineering Consulting. We were before you last month with this request initially. I'll bring up the plans for you all. So this is the plan that we were before you last month, and this longer rectangle was a patio that we were seeking to expand, and the commission had some concerns with it, and sent us back to take a better look at the area. I'm going to switch. You'll let me know whether the screen switches with me. I'm trying to show you a photo right now. Did that switch?
Yes.
It did. So the commission had suggested maybe we could just rotate that patio configuration. And the owner was a little bit concerned because there is a pretty large, spectacular beech tree off that wing of the house, which they don't want to get too close to. So you can kind of line up where the existing edge of house is and not want to extend too much beyond that before they started getting into those branches. And so instead of just rotating that patio area, we reconfigured it a little bit. We're still basically talking about the same total square footage, but we did pull it back to being inside of the corner of the building. We're within the limit of work. We're not extending out much beyond the building face so that we can stay away from any roots or branches of this beech tree. And so we hope that this is a modification that can meet everybody's needs based on all our discussions that we had.
Okay, commissioners, what do you think? What do you have to say? Anybody?
Yeah, I'll
Bill?
say, yeah, two things. I'm still thinking that it should not be further this new patio should not be further encroaching into the 0 to 50. It is a patio. That's one thought. And as for the beech tree, I don't know, I have a hard time saying this, but I'm just going to say it. From what I have seen, experienced, whether it be on my property, on the Conservation Commission, and in my readings, it seems as though the beech trees are not long for this world. But there's a beech tree leaf disease that's just phenomenal. And I hope this beech tree lives, but I cannot support further encroachment into the 0 to 50.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Angela?
Yeah, I appreciate that they looked at it again. I'm not quite sure. I understand that they don't want to realign it. And you did say you pulled it out of the 50-foot buffer. Can you tell us how much, like exactly how much did you cut from the previous plan to the revised plan now? What change was actually made?
I can tell you that by flipping in between these two. So at our last meeting, we were requesting 324 square feet. And as we have revised it, we are requesting 166. So half, less than half.
I think she's talking about the distance back.
It was 470 square feet total. I requested last time, but just the patio area, what are the dimension changes on that?
The total area we have not changed. We have just been changing the dimensions to try to fit within the constraints around it. So I think that was in the letter as well as to what all the different dimensions were.
Right. It was a discussion. You were going to try to either change its orientation or change the dimensions. And I'm just asking what the dimensions are now. I didn't see that in the revised plan.
So the previous proposal was 9 by 23 when it stretched out beyond the limit of work. And that, I'm sorry. The previous proposal was 14 by 45. And now we are 18 by 31.
And it no longer extends past that demarcation wall. Could you show with the cursor?
Yes, we are no longer going past the limit of work.
Right. I just did the change wasn't highlighted. Thank you. Thank you, John.
Okay, thank you, Angela. Anyone else?
Yes.
John?
Right now, Bill's question obviously bothers me. How much are we into the 0 to 50 with the porch? I
This
missed
is
that.
an increase of 166 square feet.
Of new hardscape within the 0 to 50. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that is correct.
For which you've offered 4-to-1 mitigation.
And then some.
And then some. And all of that new mitigation is within the 0 to 50.
Yes.
Okay.
This
All
is-
right. I understand. Thank you.
But you also have quite a bit of hardscape within the 0 to 50 in addition to that, right?
I'm sorry, Louise, within the what? The 50 to 100? Was that?
No, the 0 to 50. This is not the only part of the project that is into the 0 to 50. There's
Existing hardscape within the 0 to 50. How much is within the 0 to 50 then that Louise pointed out?
I'm sorry, yeah.
The total square footage of the existing building, the porch, this proposed patio is 2,348 square feet.
So it's just a little bit.
Of which 2,109 was existing. So we are overall on this site, including what was existing, what was approved originally, and what we're asking for now is a total of 239 square feet.
Additional square feet.
Additional square feet.
Within the 0 to 50.
Within the 0 to 50.
And it's for an extended patio.
Yes.
Okay.
But you have substantially increased the footprint of the house independent of, in the 0 to 50, independent of that patio, right? You said you went from 2,109 to 2,348?
That's correct.
Yeah. So this is in addition to that increase.
This is part of that total increase. So going into today, we would have been so if this was to be approved, it would be a total of 239. As it stands before today, that it would have been a total of 73 square feet.
Me confused.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a little confused. Bill, do you understand it, or maybe?
Yeah, well, I just like to throw out the point that this is a revised plan. And this commission had already approved substantial increase. I mean, if you look at that figure, you'll see that you have a new, if you can bring that thing down, John. I mean, you've got this, look at the proposed addition that's in there. I mean, this is a plan that we've already gone and put in a proposed porch down at the bottom of the picture right there, and then the proposed addition. And they end up having this patio that we approved, a little one. Now they want a bigger one. And I'm like going, when's enough enough? And it just seems like you have multiple, you got a porch, you got patios, you got additions, and the 0 to 50 is already built out. And it's like, you don't want to turn it to the north, as we had suggested in our last discussion of this online. And, now it's a beech tree, which is in the way. And I just can't accept that.
Well, I also recall that there was a lot of hand wringing back when we considered this proposal in the first place. So this is on top of the hand wringing conclusions. So,
Louise, again, I just want to make sure I've got the facts straight. From what is existing, not the previous approved plan, from what is existing today on the ground,
On the ground.
how much more is in the 0 to 50?
239 square feet with this proposal.
With this proposal versus existing.
Versus what?
This proposal versus the previously approved plan.
No. Okay, this proposal versus the previously approved plan is 166 square feet of additional.
In the 0 to 50.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Then if I understand the facts, is that from the existing to the current plan before us, it's a 200 and some odd square feet additional 0 to 50 plantings. Is that, hardscape, correct?
Correct.
And even though we already approved some addition within the 0 to 50 in the last approval, you want more than that now. Is that correct?
Correct.
Then I'm understanding what Bill Kern is saying.
okay, anyone else?
Yes,
Jeff?
Louise, could John pull the plan back up and take his cursor and show what because it's not 100% clear to me where the 31 by 18, which the 31 goes from the house towards the water. Is that correct?
That's correct. This is 31 by 18.
Right there. Okay.
Excuse my squiggling with the mouth. So in terms of just a comment on the we added before, there was a proposed porch. Well, the proposed porch to the south was where there was an existing patio that we removed and we made smaller. So this was all, square footage within the 50 that was given back originally. There was an existing deck on this corner of the house that was removed. There was stairway, there was a garage. There was development above and beyond and closer, to the bay that was removed. Yes, we are asking for some additional square footage from what was approved within the 50-foot. We understand it's an important area. We're in a developed portion of the site. We're within the limit of work. We're well beyond the mitigation calculations. I think that we are providing, two times what would be required by the 3 to 1 and 4 to 1. We're giving almost double the amount of mitigation for this. I think kind of modest patio areas on a house was 60s, 80 years old.
Yeah, Louise, can I chime in again?
Yes, you still have the floor.
Okay. And Bill, you weren't far out of line with your beech tree comment. They certainly are a struggle. And with that said, I'll give you that. I'm gonna come back and make a point. I think there was 3 meetings or so ago, and hopefully I'm not out of bounds with this comment, but I voted no on one matter when everyone else voted yes. It was a large utility company that was looking, well, was applying to remove, I think it was 14 or 16, 5 to 16-inch caliper trees within 10 or 15 feet of the resource area, and no one had a problem with that. So it just rubs me a little bit when I see something that's so close on this. And John, in terms of the rotation, I think you could almost get out of this unscathed. That's why I asked you the 31 by 18 and take into account Bill's comment on the beech trees, of which is correct. If you were to, on the 31 side closest to the beech tree, if you were to add 5.5 more feet to that side, shrink the patio back 5.5 feet or so, times the 31 feet long is going to get you your 166 square feet that you're protruding into the 50 foot. Am I and into the 0 to 50? Am I correct on that?
I think you would be less of a proposal. I think that 5 feet probably still would be some adding in the 50, right where the cursor is, but you'd be down to, single digits or 20 square feet, maybe.
Okay. Well, where I'm going is it doesn't sound like this is being well received right here. Give them the 5 to 6 feet, and I have no problem with this application.
Okay, Angela.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, it's more about the order of events that's brought us here. The mitigation was decided for the original plan, and I realize this is a small revision, but it's in the 50, and that's all we're really dealing with now. So I appreciate you came back with some calculation that's different, but we asked you to do something and talk to the applicant about not having anything footprint in that 0 to 50. And if you take your cursor and make the line, we're either saying make it smaller so it's out of the 50 if you can't turn it, and then there's a beech tree discussion as well. It's sounding like we're not going to approve it the way it is because you still have a footprint in the 0 to 50 that is an addition from something that was previously approved. And that's what I'm hearing all of us. Is that correct?
Are you asking John that? Or
I'm asking the commissioners. John came back with a change, but he still has something in the 0 to 50 that I'm hearing Bill, myself, and Louise don't like because it's still in the 0 to 50. And we asked him to either change its orientation or reduce it, but it's still in the 0 to 50. And so therefore, that's where I think we're all down in the discussion, correct? So I'm asking the commissioners, are we there?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. So Bill, you had your hand up?
Yeah, we're on Zoom and we never get to talk, and we have a new commissioner, and he talked about that wetland that the utility was cutting down trees. And I think that's kind of a squirrely subject, and I wondered if maybe John Abadili, you were part of that discussion.
Yes.
Are you able to help our new commissioner? Because that's probably something rumbling around in his head about because when we had, my simple take on it is that when major utilities and whatnot, that the town is making major changes in infrastructure, that we make concessions that we don't normally do to a single residential development because of the overall greater good to the community and need for the community to blah blah. Can you maybe amplify on that? Because I think Jeff kind of needs a little further guidance or commentary or something.
Yeah. Actually, I appreciate you bringing that up because I wanted to make 2 points, starting with that one. Jeff, I think there is clearly, the commission, as long as I've been on it, clearly says, where you have a public good, they're more willing to make an exception. And that utility one that you referred to was clearly in the mind of what, 5 or 6, whatever the vote was, the majority of the commissioners saying, look, we weigh these things, and here is a public good. A private marina versus dock versus a public marina is an example where we have looked at different things, different factors. And every one of our regulations in the law requires us to be site specific. So I think there clearly is, Jeff, in my opinion, based on the experience, a difference between what's before us here and what was in that quote public utilities one. I think Bill is right about that. But let me go on, and Bill may be a little surprised with this. I'm bothered by the fact, John, that when you came before us, it was a decision, which I'm sure I supported, to say, okay, we're going to allow this expansion to 050 because we're getting a ton of mitigation over and above, and I think that's really great. But I'm sitting here this afternoon saying, wait a minute, what's Peter Sampu's word? Creep. We gave you some in the 0 to 50. Now you're asking for more than the 0 to 50. Say, but look at all the mitigation I get you. And I guess I'm really troubled with that, John.
But we're giving you more mitigation.
I understand that.
Okay.
And I've long favored, and Bill and I have gone back and forth, I've long favored this is, listen, if you give me 4 times as much of new plantings in the 0 to 50, maybe that's a good trade-off. This is a little different to me. This is a porch, not a house, as Bill has pointed out. This is in addition to what we already proved in the 0 to 50. And I get a little hesitant, dealing with consultants to say, oh, well, okay, they can keep coming back for it. I am troubled with this one, but I clearly distinguish this one from the utilities one, Bill and Jeff. That's my view.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Louise, just one quick follow-up.
Sure.
I don't want to drive at the utilities right here. I was just using that as an example. I'm the one that also agreed with you, Bill, on the beech tree. Okay.
Yeah.
And to tell John to, add the 5, whether you're talking about if it's rotation or not, but just subtract that line and put the 5 feet, into the beech tree. In the last meeting, there was no conversation about the beech tree. I mean, this is new information today. So,
and I'm also impressed with Jeff's comment. Oh, Bill started it, but with Jeff, with your background in this area, you're agreeing with Bill relative to this beech tree.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, to save the beech tree, because, and therefore, it's a sort of a justification to go more into the 050 is not a good trade, in my opinion, John.
Right. Ed, do you have any comments?
Yeah, thank you. Again, I see both points. I think you could probably change it slightly and make it more of an appeal. I think if you're looking at it right now, if you would bring the edge of the patio back to what was the approved, and then you could shoot north again. I think that's what the commissioners are looking at. I mean, I fully understand the idea of creep, but you've got what, half the house or thereabouts that is already sitting in the 50-foot. It was a slight improvement, is what it looks like from what was there originally existing. And given the fact that you're doing twice the amount of mitigation, I think that should account for something. But I do understand the concept of creep, and so maybe a compromise between the two would work out then. Still, maybe save the beech tree and move it back. It wouldn't be completely out of the 50, but I think that would be the solution to this.
John, you have your hand up? Or did you not take it down?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I did not take it down. I'll do so right now.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I don't know how everyone else feels about this. I'm thinking that perhaps John might want to take it back to the applicants and see if they could just tweak it a little bit more.
Or he could ask for a vote if he wanted to, Louise.
Yeah,
I want if I could have a little bit of guidance or maybe sort of feedback on what Ed just said of whether or not the line of the existing patio. Just let me change colors. Hold on.
The original approved one?
The original approved patio, if instead of extending seaward from it, we ran north-south, there would be 20 some odd square feet still of additional within the 50-foot buffer. And some of you have said, no more in the 50.
That little red, I just interrupt you. That little red thing you just put on there, I would have no problem with that if you ran it north. That's my opinion.
Would that mean it would be out of the 50 totally, Bill?
No, see that little red dot, that little red thing
Close.
would be a triangle in the 0 to 50. But it would be like, that would be really minor.
20 square feet.
And you'd be okay with that, Bill?
See that little red triangle that I'm looking at right there, that's a nothing to me. I mean, you're
Right.
getting most of it, out of the 0 to 50. That's my.
What it's worth, John, I would agree with Bill.
And I'm
So-
not getting what I'm not going to ask for a vote on this because I know where it's going. I guess my question is, do I come back again next month with that change, or is this a direction that is sufficient for the staff of take
think
that
you're right,
area and
Bill.
reconfigure it to fit in that box?
I don't think we can say two of our members are here, are missing. One of them can vote, one can mull it in, the other one can't. So I guess the majority of who will be there next time are probably already here. But I don't think that we can say that. It sounds.
Except that I think, Louise, that Bill indicated he would support it. Is that right, Bill?
Yeah.
Abadieli
Just take it
indicated-
north with that little triangle accepted as insignificant. Don't quote me, but I could accept that. And then you just run it north as far as they need into
And
the.
Abadieli
Not
agreed
going in
with
the
that, so that's 2 votes, John.
It would be. I mean, it would be 24 by 23 instead of what we just the same area would be 24 by 23. And is that something that needs to come back before the full commission, or is that something that could be approved subject to receipt?
You
Can we
want
approve
to
it with that revision, Louise?
beg your pardon?
Can we approve it with that revision that he's just done? He's pulled it back even more than what he brought today. Can we
Right.
approve this revision that way, that he just drew it?
Feels comfortable that he can speak on behalf of the applicants.
Of course.
Apparently he does.
He's the legal representative, Louise. He could speak on behalf of them, and we could approve this subject to submission of a revised plan showing that change. We can
Right.
vote on that.
All right.
Yep.
Shall we consider this? Let's see. Do I have a motion to approve the revision with a caveat that there will be a revision changing the patio to a 24 by 23 dimension?
Can I jump in, Louise?
Sure.
I make a motion to approve this subject to submission of a revised plan showing the porch relocated as committed to by the applicant.
All right. So you're
Yes.
making a motion. Do we have a second?
As submitted by the applicant?
As testified today by the applicant, as shown on this drawing by the
On
applicant.
this drawing here.
Right, but subject to receipt of a revised plan showing that, Bill.
Yes, right.
If I'm saying that correctly.
Let the video show.
Right. John understands, so that somebody make a motion, I'd second it if it was me.
I'd second that.
Roll call.
Abadieli,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Koshulik,
Aye.
and Tangney, aye. Passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you for working on this.
Next is Terry S. Wentworth, 16 Raleigh Court, Hyannis, SE 35990. The project was additions, deck, pool house, driveway, land, view corridor. And it's a request to add vista pruning to the application. Is this Arlene?
Good afternoon. Arlene Wilson, AM Wilson Associates, here for Perry Wentworth, the applicant. And I'll give it a shot at sharing my screen. There we go. So there's no change to any of the structures or any of the mitigation on this plan. It is simply requesting permission to add vista pruning when necessary to the area on the north of the house, outlined in red here, and on the west side outlined here. The work would be in accordance with the commission's protocol. That is, the agent would come out with the landscape contractor, take photographs, mark things that are going to be modified. Then the work would be done, and there would be after the fact photographs to show that it was done correctly. The shrub layer will be left at least 4 feet and pruned in accordance with the growth habit of the shrubs that are pruned. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Generally, we talk about vista corridors as sort of a slanted or cone-shaped formation coming from the site of the viewer out to the view. And you've got this quasi-rectangle there in the north. So why is that? Are you waiting for the process to take place between the contractor and the staff member? And that's why you're doing it.
There are significant trees in the areas outside the view shed lines on the north end. We assumed that people would want to have those trees stay intact in their natural state. And because this area on the north of the house is a deck area where there will be people apt to be sitting right across it, and a little sunroom here. And the view is predominantly to the north. So this site has 560 plus square feet, linear feet of frontage on the wetland areas around Snows Creek. And the areas that we're asking for vista pruning are just less than 20%. So it's within the commission's normal requirements.
Okay, Bill.
Yeah, I was wondering about how high you're going to be limbing the conifers on the west side. That's question one. It's fairly dense foliage there in the photographs. I visited the site last year when you were doing something, but how are you taking them, like 6 feet, 8 feet? What kind of?
May not be necessary, in fact, to do much limbing at all. Unfortunately, that area that in here is predominantly spruce. And if you went out there this year, you would see that most of those spruce trees have the ick that the spruces are getting. People will probably be back in a couple of years with a request to take them down and replace them with something is happier in this area now. So the lower spruce limbs up to probably 6 or 8 feet are almost devoid of needles at this point, Bill.
So your
It's
plan is,
unfortunate.
so how
Yeah.
high, but how high would you be taking them? I mean,
8 feet, but it'll be cutting dead wood at this point.
I see. And as I vaguely remember from this, we looked at this project like about a year ago or something, and there was a lot of mitigation that had not been planted on the north side, as I recall. And I remember encouraging you to get that north side replanted. And as I look at the photographs of the north side, I'm wondering. It seems like it hasn't been planted, but maybe I didn't visit it this time around. Can you tell me about the mitigation over there?
The mitigation to the north of the house has been completed.
Yeah.
And so, those are new shrubs, new plants. They're not particularly tall. I was interested in giving you the photographs that would show off the porch. So they're really above the mitigation line. There's a small area of mitigation still to be completed over here. As soon as the ground is unfrozen, which should be a couple more weeks, the landscape contractor will complete that work and will probably be in for a certificate of compliance at your next afternoon meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Great. Thanks, Bill. Angela.
Yeah, thank you. Arlene, I just had 2 quick questions. I understand the vista pruning falls under our regs. So this would be under consultation and you'd stay out of the BVW because I see that and I'm just a little confused at your square box at the top.
Right.
So you will be staying out of the BVW. That's not a problem, right?
Correct.
You're doing this under consultation. So I still don't understand why that box can't be made in a conic shape if you came out at an angle. I didn't understand your answer why you can't do that. It can be a fatter cone than the one to the left, to the west, but why can't it be in a cone shape?
Because we want to be able to have a view off as much of the west side of the deck as we can while still leaving the tree cover that's on the point without having to do any limbing there, and the same on the easterly side. Usually you're looking at a view shed that comes out of a sliding glass door or a couple of windows in somebody's dining room or living room. That's not the case here. It is more the case for the west view shed, but on the north, it wants to be wide at the house.
I get it. You want the view line from the exact size of the house going out.
Right, that's right.
Okay.
John.
Yeah, I'd like to. I think both Louise and Angela are looking at same concerns that I have with this. In all due respect, Arlene, there are many of these few corridors we've seen where they're along a deck and they sort of pick an area and make it the cone-shaped area from that. So the fact that you want the whole deck is something that I don't remember seeing before. So I'd kind of like to get Ed's input on this with his expertise and experience with it. Does this squared off view corridor versus the traditional one shape that we're used to, Ed, does that in any way bother you? Because it does bother me, I have to admit.
Yeah, so this is definitely non-traditional. Again, if you look at if Arlene can bring up the west view shed, you can see that it sort of actually lends itself to there's not going to be a lot of cutting that has to go on through that whole area.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the north view shed.
There it is, right there.
Arlene. Yeah,
The
so you can
proposal.
go up one more. So you can see it's pretty thin vegetation throughout there, throughout the area anyhow. So, I mean, I could see, again, I would say something more along the lines of a much broader cone in this case. So we can certainly work with the landscaper to achieve that. So it's more of a wider cone. I think again, given the view and the amount of vegetation that's there right now, I don't see that as being a huge area of vegetation being cut. You're going to be able to manage that with relatively simple cuts.
Then if I could jump, thanks. Then if I could jump in with a thought following Ed, I want to make it very, very clear that I have a lot of trouble with an argument that says, well, I want my view corridor to, parallel the whole back of the house or the whole possible wherever they sit on the deck. I don't like going down that path at all, Arlene. And knowing your expertise, Arlene, you're going to come back tomorrow and say, well, you approved one yesterday, and I don't want to get caught in that bind. So I because of Ed, I'd go along with a revised view corridor showing somewhat smaller cone-shaped area subject to approval by staff.
John, that's fine. This is an unusual piece of property because it has, excuse me, so much frontage.
Yeah.
It comes all the way down here. I won't say I would never be back to do something like this again, but it would take another very unusual piece of property for me to be making a request like this.
Problem is, Arlene Wilson, you and I have been around too long doing this. So with that change and with Ed's agreement, I would support, kind of a revised plan that Ed would have the authority to approve.
Okay, anything else from anybody? I don't see any hands raised, so how about, is there going to be anyone to, geez, what's the word? Move to approve this application or this revision, revised in a revised form that the shape of the view corridor to the north be changed to a more cone shape, traditional cone shape, as reviewed by our staff.
Excuse me, Louise, not reviewed by, but approved by.
Approved by our staff.
Right.
Subjected to approval by our staff.
Then I make that motion.
With a new plan,
Yeah.
showing that more conical view.
Yeah, she
Right.
said that.
So to clarify a little bit, what I think Louise said is that we'd approve this subject to submission of a revised plan to be approved by staff, showing a more canonical shape view corridor. How's that, Bill?
Conical, not canonical.
Oh, sorry.
Canonical sounds like
All right.
something out of the Vatican.
PhD degrees. Come on. Yeah, conical. Thank you very much. I would make that motion, but the slight change.
Maybe it's comical.
Me too.
Yeah, okay. Do we have
Second.
a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Abadili,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Kashulik,
I
and Tangney, aye. That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The last revised plan is Oyster Harbors Club and Company, 170 Grand Island Drive, Osterville, SE3 6091. The project was to raise and replace beach cabana and permit existing patio. The revision proposed is extend steps, add shed, kayak racks, and reduce deck. And
Good
John-
afternoon, John O'Day from Sullivan Engineering Consulting. As you mentioned, this project was for the replacement of the Oyster Harbors Club beach cabana. And I'll just kind of quickly show you on the highlighted plan that the changes that we are seeking approval of. There's a walkway along the face of the building, and there was a couple of steps down from the middle of it. They were extended along the face of it. That walkway is about 20 inches off the ground. It's not high enough that, building codes would require handrails or anything, but it's more than anyone would want to risk falling off of. So they extended that step along there just so it was an easy get off of. There had been a shed over to the north of the building. It has been replaced on the south side. It's 6 by 8 feet. It is a place that they put life jackets and paddles and things like that. There had been, going into the project, boat racks and kayaks and canoes and stuff stored all over the beach and the beach grass, and as part of the project the commission was looking for those to be taken off of the beach and pulled further back up into the land, and that was done. And so there are kayak racks, some to the east. They added some more to the west of the building where the old building was, and this little shed is right in that area. And then on the other side of the building, the yellow is what was approved as the decking around it, and orange is what was built, which is a little bit smaller. So overall on this site, I think we ended up within about 10 square feet of what had been the project as approved. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, commissioners. Any discussion? Okay, so could I have a motion to approve this proposed revision?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Hearn,
aye.
Kashulik,
Aye.
and Tangy, aye. It's unanimous, Madam Chair.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. We have one enforcement order, Elizabeth J. Andrus, trustee, Andrus Family Realty Trust, 99 Bunker Hill Road, Osterville, map 096, parcel 006. Ed?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This came in a little while ago now. It was an anonymous complaint. When we got out there, we found that this is the area over here. You got Bunker Hill Road up here, Bog Pond with a flood zone and small bordering vegetative wetland to the north side of the property. When I had gotten out, we had found that there was had clearly been a lot of cutting throughout the buffer. And that there had also, when I got on site, so this whole area had been a lot of understory clearing and some clearing of BVW down in this area as well. When I got out there, this is what I found. Again, a lot of cutting and mowing that had gone on, or it's more like a gravely attachment that was on the small bobcat. The operator of the bobcat, as you might suspect, was not a licensed or they were not a professional operator by any means. So they had gotten the machine stuck severely in the wetland portion of the area. Again, you can see there was extensive cutting that went on throughout the 50-foot buffer and into the 50 to 100. And again, it was all mostly smaller sapling type and shrub layer that got cut. Oops. And again, this just final couple looks. You can see the proximity of the pond, the BVW isolated wetland here on the far side here, and then the buffer which is off to the right. This was actually done. It's more complicated now because the reality here is that this is all the 99 Bunker Hill property over here. However, it was the person who was hired to do the cutting was hired by a neighbor that's over here at number 139 Bunker Hill. And again, the Bobcat was actually just a rental. The person, it was my understanding, the person had a temporary hydraulic license, and that's enough apparently to rent a Bobcat. And he got into a lot of trouble with doing that. So as far as what needs to be done, again, you can see that the whole area, again, there was a good small portion of the wetland itself that was impacted by the cutting and by the stuck machine. The good news is it did not appear as though there was any hydraulic fluid or diesel or gasoline that got spilled into the wetland. It was all contained within the Bobcat with no fuel spillage. So we're asking that this is definitely going to be something that a certified ecological restoration practitioner is going to have to come in and do most of the work. They'll come in and do an assessment. That assessment will be submitted to staff, and then we will move forward with a restoration and planting plan, again, established by the SERP. The SERP will do all of the work. I'm asking that the SERP and be the same SERP from start to finish on the project, and that we have 3 annual reports with follow-ups every year after the initial restoration is completed. And the homeowner, Elizabeth Andrews, is here in the audience, as is the person that hired the individual, Dr. Hill, from 139. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Or if you need to speak to the homeowner is aware of the process. Again, the homeowner has had absolutely nothing to do with any of this. But again, because it occurred on 99 Bunker Hill property, it is that homeowner who is responsible for doing the restoration. And I believe they are working out the details with the neighbor as well. So if you need to ask that, they're here for that as well.
Commissioners, questions? No one? Nothing?
No, it's a mess. Needs to be fixed.
I'd just like to hear from the homeowner to make sure that there's an understanding of what Ed just went through. So if the homeowner could speak, that might be helpful for me.
Liz?
Is there anyone ready to speak for the homeowner?
Yeah, I think it's Liz. Liz PC. Is that you?
Needs to unmute Ed.
I don't see anything on the.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I was muted. Sorry. I'm Liz.
Hi, Liz.
I'm sorry, my picture didn't come up, but yes, I'm working with Gene is on here too, and he's unmuted, and he's already been in touch with, I think it's Crawford. Was that?
Crawford
Yep.
Land Management.
Was it Crawford? One of the names?
Yes.
And the only thing on that letter, it said it should be done by June 24. The date should be 25, I guess.
Yes,
In the letter
that's probably that's my fault.
yeah, just a typo, so I don't get in trouble again. But I do understand, and Jean seems to have a good understanding of it. And I don't completely understand, but I guess I will as I go through the process.
But again, Liz, so you actually have the responsibility and you have the authority to do the hiring. You'll have to work with Dr. Hill as far as the how that all works. But you would certainly have the responsibility and the authority to approve of any hiring that goes on. And then again, you'll have to work that out, how ultimately the project is paid for. That's between you and Dr. Hill. But if you do need help or need some extension, we can talk to the SERP once you hire the SERP. Have them call us and we'll work out any details.
The SERP is the landscape people.
Yeah, so if it's Crawford Landscape, and they can just give me a call and we can work out to make sure that all of the deadlines are going to be met. And if we need to adjust that schedule, we can do that as well.
And I would think that I would meet with them when we go look at it, right? I mean, I should discuss that with them, how they do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's your property and it's your responsibility. So you would have the authority to hire whom you feel is appropriate. Again, as long as they have to be a SERP certified landscape contractor. That's the only requirement that we're putting on it. But there are a few companies that can do that.
Ed, we want to be notified if anyone other than, and we're assuming it's Crawford, anyone other than Crawford takes over during the 3 years.
So once you decide on for sure which SERP you're using, then you need to let us know that, and then we'll have a meeting on site between the homeowner and whoever the SERP is and myself.
Okay.
And we'll work out the fine details for what is next in terms of but they'll have to the first thing they'll have to do is do the assessment to see what was damaged.
Okay.
Bill, you have your hand up?
I do. Who was the neighbor that did this, got the bobcats stuck, cleared all that land, and what are the consequences for that entity person?
Dr. Hill is the abutter. He lives at 139 Bunker Hill. He was the one who hired the bobcat operator.
He has a right of action. She has a right of action against him if he doesn't
precisely
pay. That's between her and Dr. Hill, obviously.
Okay.
Right.
She has a legal right of action that she could pursue if Dr. Hill was not willing to pay for the project.
Thank you.
I will say all parties were apologetic. Certainly, they weren't expecting to do something like this, but Dr. Hill came forth right away, and has assured me that he was going to work with the homeowner to make it all right. So. It's going to be a challenge to get all that restoration work done. That will be mostly the biggest in terms of it will be a likely fairly expensive restoration process. I know it was an expensive code to get the bobcat out of the wetland and off the site to begin with. So, and I will be pursuing a non-criminal citation to the bobcat operator as well. So you'll see that later on.
You ready for a motion, Louise, to move forward?
Do I have a second?
The motion I make is to confirm the enforcement order as submitted.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Koshulik,
Aye.
and Tagny, aye. That's unanimous, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to requests for determination. First one is Robert and Marcy Aronson, addition of rinse station, fire pit, pergola, and expanding existing terrace at 71 Sasham Drive, Centerville, as shown on Assessor's Map 209, parcel 026,
All right, I'm all done.
DA 5008. That application has been withdrawn. The second RDA is Roger Brooks, Cape Wide Construction and Company, excavate for and install new foundation and footings for new 5x12 addition to front of house frame, new addition and remodeled bathroom at 127 Shell Lane, Kituitt, as shown on Assessor's Map 019, parcel 158, DA 25009. Who is representing Roger Brooks?
Roger Brooks is here.
Hello.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Commissioner, Roger Brooks from Cape Wide Construction. I'm representing the homeowner, Christine Scanlon, who is on here. We've got a small project that we're looking to do here. It's a 5x12 foot, 60 square foot addition. To infill one corner of the house on the southwestern side of the house. We've sketched that onto a previous plan for the garage that has been constructed successfully and everything is in compliance. Any questions?
Commissioners, any questions or discussion? Angela?
No, I just wanted to say I saw this. It looks like they're, in summary, just squaring off the existing building, and it's out of the 0 to 50. It's set way back, so I have no problem with this.
Okay, good. Do we have any public comment? Panel 18, any public comment? None? Panel 18?
Seeing none.
Okay, thank you. So do I have a motion to approve this application?
That's an RDA. I think it would be a
It's a
motion,
negative determination.
motion for negative determination.
Yeah, motion for negative determination.
So
Thank you.
moved.
Second,
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Koshulik,
Aye.
and Tagny, aye. That's unanimous, Madam Chair.
Okay. Moving on to notices of intent.
Thank you.
Good luck on your project. Randolph and Barbara Noel to demolish existing dwelling and construct a new dwelling with all associated appurtenances and swim spa at 34 Short Beach Road, Centerville, as shown on Assessor's Map 206, parcel 041, SE 6250. We have a request to continue this application to April 1st. So do we have a motion for continuing it to April 1st?
Without testimony.
Without testimony.
So moved.
Second.
Abadili,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Koshulik,
Aye.
and Tagny, aye. That's unanimous.
Okay, thank you. The second application, notice of intent is, what have I done with it? Here we go. 135 Putnam LLC grading, vegetation, restoration and construction of a vinyl bulkhead to stabilize the failing coastal bank and replacement of the bank access stairs at 135 Putnam Avenue, Katuitt, as shown on Assessor's Map 036, parcel 040-001. There has been a request to continue this hearing without testimony to March 25th. Do I have a motion to continue this without testimony to March 25th?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Kern,
Aye.
Kashulik,
Aye.
and Tagney, aye. That's unanimous, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. On to continuances. Robert Hauer, raise and replace existing single-family dwelling, construction of a pool, barn, deck, and other landscape features at 137 Sutton Pond Road, Barnstable, as shown on Assessor's Map 280, parcel 23, SE3 6242. And this was continued from the 11th of February. Is everyone on, Madam Clerk, is everyone on the quorum? Everyone here on the quorum for that?
I believe so. Everybody that's here, yes.
Okay, all right. So a representative is here. True? Representing this applicant during the continuance?
Hi, Bernice. I'm Bernice Waller with Bernice Waller Landscapes. I'm here with Dan Ojala should be here as well.
Yep.
From
He's
Downcape.
here.
Speaking.
Now, yeah.
Sure.
Dan.
Dan Ojala with Downcape Engineering. So this is a continued hearing. You were nice enough to give us an extension here to look at some revisions to the plan. I think Bernice has come up with a very strong landscape plan. I believe Peter requested some eastern red cedars. There was concern about the amount of hardscape that was in the 0 to 50. Some reluctance to approve a pool that was proposed in the 50, even though it was in a developed lawn area. I'll share my screen here and see if I can come up with, if I can pull that up. Share screen 2. Okay. Pull that out. Push this up. There's an existing home on this property, which is quite close to the resource areas. You can see here that we're looking at 21.5 feet off of a man-made coastal bank. I think this site is somewhat unique in that we're not talking about it's an altered buffer. It's an altered resource area. Yes, there's obviously the salt marsh and the great Barnstable Harbor, but there's also a very large rock revetment which is between the house and the water. And the house, there's some neighbors to the south who enjoy a view corridor through this area. So we're trying really hard to please everybody. We've maintained that view corridor. We did slide the house back a few feet and over 7 to try and maintain the view shed as you go by the street to be able to see the water, and from the home across the street. They enjoy that view shed. So we're working hard to try and maintain that. Some big improvements in terms of the hardscape numbers we're looking at on the plan. So you should be looking at March 4th, 2025 revision date, which is this. We've fully pulled the pool and out of the 50-foot buffer, only a small portion of the deck remains. The house is pulled back again a little bit further, and we've increased the plantings, the percentage. So in 0 to 50, the existing building is 1796. The proposed is down to 525, so that's a nice reduction. There is some deck, although I'd remind you that deck is pervious. It's still counted as hardscape, but we're down 565 square foot within the 0 to 50 now. 50 to 100, there is, of course, an increase because we've pulled some of the house back into the buffer, and the barn is a little bit outside of it, but the pool moved from within the 50 to out of the 50, and some associated hardscape with that. But the good news is Bernice has done a great job and increased the planting significantly. We're looking at 3,647 square foot of hardscape that's required. That's using your the 4 to 1, 3 to 1 ratios. And again, it's going down a little bit in the 0 to 50, which is always appreciated. And with the robust revegetation, except for a little bit of house and deck that remains, the vast majority of that 50-foot buffer will be mitigation plantings instead of mostly lawn, as you can see, and house. Now you're looking at a very robust buffer. And instead of the 3,647 square foot, we've more than doubled that to 7,325 square foot. And that's the landscape plan, that revised 3/4/25 by Bernice. It's again, it's a unique site. I think if you look at this, we are asking for a waiver to stay within the 50. But if you look at the past history, the Howards have been very environmentally conscious. They removed a vast amount of pavement that was in this area with a direct drain into the resource area, and have scaled it back. And now we've pulled the house back, we've moved the pool, and we've give a 2 times the normal amount of mitigation. So hopefully you could find your way to approving this on a very unique piece of property. That again, we're trying to maintain some views by the folks on the street and the neighbors, rather than push the house into that view corridor. And I think we've successfully shown that we can the benefits outweigh the detriments by having just a very robust plan. So Bernice, if you'd like to say a few words, I could pull up your landscape plan there. Or any of the other items that you need to speak.
Thank you, Dan. Bernice Waller from Bernice Waller Landscapes. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have with the planting. I do believe that this planting really conforms to your action items to have a net benefit to the environment. I was really excited to see this project come across my desk, because we have a big opportunity to provide up to a 50-foot buffer in front of a house, which is really, in my 20 years of the Cape, I don't come across that very often in terms of mitigation planting. So we have a very robust buffer that we're offering. You can see, when we kind of pull out our view, because our project is a tiny project in a whole ecosystem, and that you'll see that this project as it exists now, it's just sitting there with lawn. There's no habitat that's created there. And this applicant really is a steward of the land. You really have a warrior on your side here with this applicant. Dan had mentioned that they had voluntarily removed that pavement. They want to live with nature on this project. This particular plot of land would be linking up a mass greenway along all the projects and the salt marsh over to the left. So it has a real big benefit to kind of create that link. We've also tried to address some of the commission's comments about the vertical diversity, showcasing some cedars. We've got some beach plum in there, some myrica that can also grow very tall, and some other rhizomatic spreading shrubs that are kind of helpful. But in general, we're really trying to recreate a true kind of in ecological habitat. And in the process of doing all of this, I think the best thing that this project is doing is it's, reducing the amount of built objects within your 0 to 50 buffer, and also reducing just short of 10,000 square feet of lawn in a really, really protected resource area. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. Commissioners, Angela.
Yeah, I just want to be sure that we don't misrepresent that the real issue here was pulling the house back when there's plenty of room. Thank you for moving the pool out of the 0 to 50. And the fact that we asked for moving the house back 6 feet would take it out of the 0 to 50. And I didn't hear how much you're pulling it back. So are you taking it and making the deck smaller? So it seems like you're still doing the same plan that we saw the last time, and you didn't address why this can't all come out of the 0 to 50. Am I missing something?
The house was pulled back just
Out of the 50, 0 to 50?
It was pulled. We did pull it back an additional 4 feet over what we had before, and it was also shifted up slightly so that less of the developed area is lying within the 0 to 50. As you can see, there's a really there's a bump in our 50-foot line where, so we shifted it up back and a little bit towards the east. And so we were able to move development outside, as well as moving all of the pool and all of that pool deck outside. So we ended up, our previous application, we had a positive. We were asking for more development in the 0 to 50. In this application, we're asking for we have a net reduction of over 500 square feet. So we did push it back. We did push the pool back with the pool and the garage there. You can see how things are getting tighter for us here in terms of how much space is actually available for us to move this structure back.
But so it's only 2 feet left of the original 6 feet that was asked. You did 4. There's 2 feet left, and there's no more room to pull it back.
We're really set up. We really have some tight constraints with the project in terms of where that pool can be. We have a setback over there that is a bit of a limiting factor. And with moving the pool back where we're currently proposing it, we're able to exceed, the requirement for the mitigation by almost double. So we have, with 3,600 square feet plus or minus, that would have had to have been provided. The applicant is looking to offset the impact by 73.
Thank you. It's just when we start over, we try to not put anything in the 0 to 50. We don't use the mitigation up front in order to justify putting something back there. So I'll let the other commissioners speak, but thank you for answering my question.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would think along the same vein as Angela. Just looking at this, it looks like you could pull it back some more, and that would make a big difference to us because the 50 is really special to us. And you're starting over with something, and it looks like you've got a lot of room landward, and it would be a shame to be invading in the 50 just because we haven't worked hard enough to figure out how to do it. So, Bill, what do you have?
This is the first time that I've seen this latest proposal. Was that distributed to the Conservation Commission members?
I think
everything. Well, I can't speak precisely, but it absolutely was transmitted properly through the channels more than a week before the hearing, all the data, the supplemental permit drawings went in on March 4th.
Did the other commissioners get a copy of this?
Yes.
You did?
Yes. And it was on the website as well, Bill.
Okay. For me, I'm just absorbing this for the first time. I did not. I just even looked at my emails. I couldn't find it. But but whatever. My first reaction is, well, I have a question. Am I understanding that there is a net reduction in the footprint in the 0 to 50?
From existing.
That's
Right.
correct, from existing.
From the existing, you have now reduced it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost 600 square feet from what is existing there today, and getting rid of a ton of lawn that's within the 0 to 50. And again, as we mentioned, the Howards are very sensitive to the view shed from across the street. You know, while it looks like there's some room, it's a narrowing lot, and this house does enjoy a view of the water, and we're trying to be respectful of that and the people that pass by. Whereas if we, you know, and I know aesthetics are only a very small part of what you look at, but that's a big part of it, just the sighting. And so the extra mitigation, 2 times the amount you'd normally require. We're hoping that we can leave this generally where we have it here proposed now. That's the thought on it.
Yeah, I'm sort of on the fence. I mean, I'm sort of favorably impressed, but you know, that's all I have to say. Thanks.
I do.
John?
Yes.
Yeah,
Jesus, I
yeah.
lost it.
I don't, somebody needs to raise their hand if they want.
Yeah,
Yes.
me.
Oh, John, go ahead.
I just lost the picture. I don't know where it went. Let me see if I can get it back. All right. You can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Louis?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You know, I think we have to remember that they would have an absolute legal right to reproduce the house where it is right now. Grandfathered. That's what we've always held, and I think that would be the appropriate legal. So I'm kind of looking at that and saying, you know, but this is a complete raising. So Peter Sampo and I have argued, well, that then is kind of becoming a greenfield site. But you always got to recognize they couldn't just rebuild where they are, which of course would be far worse from an environmental point of view than what they're proposing. Dan, I could, you know, respect that neighbors, you want to preserve that corridor, but when you say, oh, people walking on the street so they could see the waters, that argument doesn't hold much sway with me, I have to say. But on balance, I'm still looking at this and saying what's being offered from an environmental point of view is significantly better than what is existing. It's a significant environmental improvement, and so I kind of lean towards approving this project. But I would like to hear Ed's comment too, because he has mentioned several
You
points.
there, John?
So I don't know if Ed has any
John,
comments.
we've lost
John, you
you.
did freeze out there.
Well, John,
Oh, there you are. Good.
Now, we missed your I think one sentence at the end of that, John.
Okay, I'm having trouble with the computer, so go ahead. Go.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate the.
Whoa, what
Yeah.
happened?
Are we back? Can you hear me, Bill?
You know,
can hear you.
I'm starting to fade out and
I think there's some Zoom. I think there's a Zoom issue going on because my computer like came in and out too. Not
Are
really
you
to audio or anything.
As did mine, Bernice, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Yeah, I stopped sharing. Did that screen drop?
Yes, that helps.
Okay, so well, hopefully it'll reiterate. But yeah, I appreciate the words on how much they've restored, and honestly, the Howards are on the fence of just leaving that house and rebuilding it, but they'd rather do the right thing and raise it up and provide the more mitigation and pull it back some. But I honestly don't know if they'd go for moving it back to the 50.
No.
Especially with the neighbors.
You know, it's
Just to finish my comment, I'm
really
sorry I was cut off.
I was sort of interrupted in the middle, so why don't you back up a little bit, John, because we missed some of what you were saying.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Yeah, all of a sudden everybody froze. So what I was trying to say is I kind of look at what exists today versus what is proposed. I think the net is that there is a significant benefit to the environment from what is in front of us tonight. Much better bill than the first time that Dan came before us. Much better than that. So
I think so.
I kind of lean in favor of this thing because I think that the criteria, I mean, if they came back and said, we're going to just replace the house, within the existing square foot or whatever, then we're sort of stuck with that and no mitigation is required. That would be a real negative. So I kind of lean in favor of this, given the fact that they have pulled it back, not completely out, but given the fact that the significant environmental impacts by the mitigation being proposed. So that's my final comment. Thank you.
Well, I hear what you say, John, and I agree somewhat. But I think in the future, a lot can happen, as we all know, with sea level rising and so forth and so on. And hardscape is permanent, and plant life, unfortunately, is not. And we could have some really bad storms that would knock out all that beautiful mitigation over 50 years or whatever, and the hardscape will probably still be there. So there's that issue that rolls around in my mind.
But and I have trouble with that argument, Louise, because if that vegetation there is there only for 10 more years, the positive environmental impact of that is significant on that body of water. And I'm not willing to make an assumption that, well, in 50 years, all that mitigation is gone. I mean, the house could burn down.
I'm not assuming that it's going to be gone. I just think it's a lot less permanent than the house.
Probably is, but if it's 10 years or
robust.
15 years, my view, and I can't be argumentative here. My view is that look at this project, look at what is there, and look at what the options could be if the homeowner so choose it. And to me, we got a win-win. We really do. And if that vegetation is there for 10 years and 12 years, that's going to be 12 years of vegetation that doesn't now exist to protect that very needy body of water. I mean, I just look at this and say, hallelujah. I'm sorry, that's where I'm coming from. So,
well, also, there's a lot more hardscape on that parcel. If we go through with this project, than is there now, even if they put the house right where it is and just rebuild it. That's another factor.
yeah.
And I would say that the Howards are very good stewards of the environment, and they would commit to putting that back, and don't forget, anything they come in for a seawall repair or anything else in the future, you'll have another bite at the apple, and you can have them revegetate if for some reason they weren't as good as stewards as they are. You'll have that opportunity. And I'd remind the commission again that they had a huge driveway that they pulled right up and took the drain out of the harbor in some years back. But again, they're doing the right thing, and they sure would appreciate the opportunity to continue to do that.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, I'm sort of in between John Abadili and yourself, Louise. I'm the first one to go to the mat on expanding hardscape in the 0 to 50. We just, in this hearing, we just did that. And that's my position. We don't expand in the 0 to 50. And in my last question to Dan, I said, is this not a reduction in hardscape from existing? And it is, right, Dan?
Almost 600 square feet of reduction.
It's 600 square feet reduction. So that's a very positive trend. And so, I don't, this is between Louise and John Abadili and me. I don't agree with John Abadili's, well, if we mitigate, as long as we get the 4-to-1, let's expand. No, I go against that. But in the case of a withdrawal of the landscape, where you got 600 feet less, and then you get all this mitigation, I'm thinking my inclination is to think that this is okay, that this is, a net benefit, and there is no further creep. I mean, I'm all about trying to hold the line on expansion in the 0 to 50, and here there's a retreat from the 0 to 50 with a whole bunch of mitigation on top of that. And even if it is, temporary, at least we've reduced the the imprint in the 0 to 50, the hardscape. So I guess I'm with John, and I would say I'd be in favor of this.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Ed, do you have comment?
Yeah, okay. I will, I would tend to agree with John. I think, you have to look at this as a net benefit. I think you need to look at this, again, you look at each project on its individual merits and associations that it provides. So I think in this case, as John pointed out, yeah, they could build right up in the same spot. They would continue to maintain that huge green lawn, literally in between the house and the revetment. And I don't see the benefit in that at all. In fact, I see nothing but negatives for that point. I do understand the frustration because it seems like it is a big lot. You could move everything out of the 50-foot. But I think given the fact that you have a reduction in hardscape, you have a tremendous amount of mitigation planting area that's going in between the hardscape and the revetment. And that is, any way you cut it, that is an improvement to the 50-foot buffer. I think that, along with the general landscaping that's going around it, is all beneficial. Again, for the concerns, if it makes anybody feel better about this, the concerns about hardscape, yes, hardscape is permanent, but so is mitigation areas. So if we're going to put in a condition in that order of conditions that says the mitigation area must be maintained, and that is something that happens in perpetuity. So they would not be allowed to change that without some sort of further permitting that, again, would give you a chance at that. So I think I have a deep respect for the 50-foot buffer, but I think in this case, what you're saying is a huge improvement as to what is there right now. Anything that's going to get rid of that big green lawn, I think, is beneficial in that respect, and we can certainly hold them to it in terms of mitigation planting area as well.
Thank you, Ed. Angela.
Yeah, thank you. I don't want it to go remiss that I feel the commission really likes, and our job is to work with the applicants and the public and for them to understand why this is so important, the 0 to 50. And I do appreciate that they came back with some changes. I just wasn't sure when I first spoke what the changes exactly were. They did take the pool out of the 0 to 50, correct? Because we don't usually approve that. And they didn't pull it back 6 feet, but they did pull it back 4. Are these correct statements that I'm making, Dan?
Yeah, that's accurate. We pulled back around 4 and slid over 7 to help out on the left side.
Because when it started at the last meeting, there was no negotiation. So I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that we're working with them. And I don't want to talk about the future because they could sell the house. We could go to a million futures, but this will be a better conditions, and they'll be met under what Ed just said. So I don't have a problem with going with this. I'm not going to vote against this at this point with the reductions that you made and the adjustments that you made from the last time when it was continued. I wanted to make sure I was clear on that. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Are there any comments from the public? Channel 18?
Seeing none.
Okay, thanks. All right, do I have a motion to approve this application with the provision that this mitigation be maintained in perpetuity and that it's stated in the paperwork?
So moved. Sorry to interrupt, Louisa. So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Abedili.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Hearn.
Aye.
Kashulik.
Aye.
And Tangney. Aye. That's unanimous, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Working us, John.
Really appreciate your careful consideration on this one. I know we'll do it right, and you'll be pleased with the result. Thank you.
Yeah, good luck, Dan.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
we
everybody.
have 3 certificates of compliance. They're all easies. BCC 0204, SE3 6172, SE3 5932. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Roll call?
Abadili,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Hearn,
aye.
Kashulik,
Aye.
and Tangney, aye. That's unanimous.
Thank you. We have the February 11th, 2025 minutes.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from February 11th.
Second.
All those in favor? I mean, roll call, sorry.
Abadili,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Kashulik,
Aye.
and Tangney, aye. That's unanimous.
Okay. We have our upcoming meeting scheduled for 6:30 on March 25th. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
March 25th.
So moved. Second,
Roll call.
Tangney, aye. Kashulik,
Aye.
Hearn,
aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Abadili.
Aye.
That's unanimous, Madam Chair. It's 4:41 p.m.